37. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a thoroughly bred Nigerian, Are Afebalola, the father of this university. Regularly seated. On his left-hand side is the wife. A mother in this community. The equally thoroughly distinguished. You are welcome. We have in the house, of course, the Vice Chancellor, the Chief Executive Officer of our university, Professor Smaranda Olarinbe. I'm sorry, before that, I should have taken the Pro-Chancellor of the University, former Minister of Education, Professor Tunde Adeniro. Welcome, sir. We have in the house members of the Board of Trustees of the University. Lady Tayo Olukolade. You are welcome, ma'am. I welcome particularly members of the Governing Council of the University. I can see a brand new senior advocate of Nigeria, Mrs. Folasade Ali. Professor Lizzie Ojo. I can see Professor Ijabadeniyi. And all council members. We appreciate you. Professor Lizzie Ojo, I can see Professor Ijabadeniyi, and all council members. Registrar of our university, we appreciate you. We treasure you. The man who makes things happen, the man who makes things happen, Professor Ijabadeniyi, and all council members. We have in our midst University Librarian, Mrs. Rosemary. The man who makes things happen. Dr. Kawan, we appreciate you. All our provosts in this house, please permit me. All our provosts in this house, please permit me. And of course, our partners. And of course, Dr. Kawan, we appreciate you. All our provosts in this house, please permit me. All our provosts in this house, please permit me. Officer the Colonel, I'm sorry I can't pick your name immediately. Officer the Colonel, I'm sorry I can't pick your name immediately. You are welcome, sir. All Abwad staff in the house, we appreciate you. Staff in the house, all Abwad students, my colleagues from the media, all Abwad students, we appreciate you. Colleagues from the media, God bless you. We appreciate you. You are welcome to this. God bless you. Occasion. You are welcome to this. About you. Officer the Colonel, I'm sorry I can't pick your name immediately. I'm sorry I can't pick your name immediately. You are welcome. Because of the personality, that will be delivered. Personality. Staff in the house. Before we go to the lecture properties, ladies and gentlemen, before we go to the lecture properties, colleagues from the media, we appreciate you. Welcome, God bless you. We appreciate you. Welcome to this. Bless you. Welcome to this. Officer the Colonel, I'm sorry I have it right there. Sorry I have it. Personality. Staff in the house. To the lecture properties.
Very good morning to everybody. Very good morning. Another brilliant day. A day another brilliant day. Celebration. A day for celebration. A day that marks our 11th convocation lecture day. As the protocol has been duly established, I ask for permission to adopt the established protocol. However, I would like to recognize our founder. Our father. But yesterday, we learned more. Our founder is the father of our distinguished executive governor of Ekiti State. I am not going to stop there. He is also the father of the entire Ekiti State. Let us give a round of applause to the father of fathers, the grandfather of grandfathers. We are grateful, Daddy, that we are here. We thank you, sir. You made it possible for all of us. We also want to recognize our Mother General. She hasn't gone to the Nigerian Army Academy, Defense Academy, but she is better than any Army General. We are welcoming you, we thank you, and we appreciate you. Our very distinguished guest, my Pro-Chancellor, my colleagues, and our guests from Trinity Western University, all the way from Canada. We are highly recognized and appreciated. We appreciate and value your input in human resource capacity building. On behalf of all of us, it's now my time to appreciate most especially your excellencies, His Excellency, our own guest lecturer for today. But I will go there. On behalf of our founder and chancellor, Are Afe Emmanuel Babalola, OFR, CON, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, LLD, London, LLD, University of Ibadan, LLD, UNILAC, Nigerian Defense Academy, Fellow, Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, etc., etc., and his very beautiful wife, Yeye Are Modupe Babalola, FSM, FNIMN, FFPA, the entire board of trustees, the governing council, the Senate, students and graduates of Afe Babalola University. It is a great honor to Afe Babalola University's 11th convocation lecture. Our being ranked for 2 consecutive years as #1 university in Nigeria and number 221 in the entire world by the Times Higher Education Impact Ranking. It gives me pleasure and honor to once again welcome you to the best university in Nigeria. Such accolades are testimonies to our commitment to academic and research excellence and innovation pursuit for impactful community engagement. The convocation speaker. The convocation speaker shall be duly introduced to all of us. However, permit me to say that today we are highly privileged to have a renowned and highly esteemed personality who will deliver our convocation lecture. And our speaker, His Excellency Chief Emeka Anyakun, GCON, GCVO, CFR, former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, is a paragon of diplomacy and beacon of transformative leadership. With a distinguished career that spans decades, His Excellency Chief Emeka Anyakun has made significant contributions to global diplomacy, particularly as the former Secretary General of the Commonwealth. Today, he will be sharing his insights on the most interesting and topical issue, that is, management of diversity, a major challenge in pluralistic countries, such pluralistic countries as Nigeria is too. Given his vast experience and unparalleled expertise in this area, I am confident that his discourse will enlighten, impact, and engage all of us. Our distinguished audience, to our revered guests and attendees, I urge you to immerse yourself in the wisdom of His Excellency Chief Anyaoku. I am certain that his words will not only resonate deep, but will provide valuable insight and perspectives for all of us. In conclusion, once again, I am delighted to welcome each and every one of you to yet another very exciting convocation lecture. May this occasion be a source of inspiration, knowledge, and radical change for we all and our dear country. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chancellor. We appreciate you all. Thank you. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have just listened to the welcome address by the Vice Chancellor. Before we go ahead, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to present to you the representative of the Ondo State Governor, Arakunrin Akeredolu, who is ably represented by the Special Advisor on Education, Dr. Wumi Ilawole. You are welcome, sir. Ma, you are welcome, ma. I want to be very careful this morning. I don't want a subpoena to be issued against me. We have a battalion of judges in-house. We have the Chief Judge of Ekiti State, Honorable Justice J.O. Adeyeye, ably represented by 5 other judges led by Honorable Justice A.L. Ogumoye. You are all welcome, my lords. And of course, we have the Bishop of Abua Diocese, our own chaplain, Pastor Victor Ariyo. You are welcome, sir. We have the President, Customary Court of Appeal, Ekiti, Honorable Justice M.O. Abodunde. She is here with 6 of her brother judges. You are welcome, ma'am. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are gradually inching to the major aspect of today's program. May I call on my colleague, the University Orator, Dr. Ife Bamidele, to please give us an abridged version of Chief Anyaoku's citation. Dr. Bamidele, please.
May I humbly ask that the convocation lecturer please rise. The founder and his wife, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Chief Eleazar Chukwuemeka Anyaoku, a citizen of the world. Though of Nigerian descent, a consummate diplomat who was elected 3rd Secretary of the Commonwealth by heads of government in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia in 1989. Because of his sterling qualities inherent in him, he served for 2 terms of 5 years each as the Secretary General of the Commonwealth of 54 nations between 1990 and 2000. The former Secretary General, a man of commendable candor and incisive intellect, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, was born at Obosi in 1933. He was educated at the University College, Ibadan, where he studied classics as a college scholar, graduating with a London University Honours degree in 1959. The seasoned diplomat was also Nigeria's foreign minister in 1983, before the military coup d'etat in December 31, 1983. Chief Emeka Anyaoku has had extensive international exposure and service. He was, among many things, a distinguished visiting fellow at the Center for the Study of Global Governance at the London School of Economics and the president of the Royal Commonwealth Society with headquarters in London. In appreciation of his meritorious services to the nation, the Commonwealth, and humanity, Chief Anyaoku has been decorated with the following honors: Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger and Commander of the Federal Republic. He is also the Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order from Her Majesty, the Queen of England. His publications include The Missing Headlines, his memoirs entitled The Inside Story of the Modern Commonwealth and the Racial Factor in International Politics. Chief Emeka Anyaoku is married to Ebunwola Olubunmi Solanke, and together they have one daughter and 3 sons. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the esteemed, enviable, enigmatic convocation lecturer of today, Chief Chukwuemeka Anyaoku.
The Chancellor and founder of this university, Are Afe Babalola, the Vice Chancellor, the representative of His Excellency, the Governor, and may I at this point be permitted to stand on existing protocol. I need only to say, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a tremendous pleasure to be back here to give the speech at this 11th convocation ceremonies of Afe Babalola University, Ado-Ekiti, this most impressive institution. I took a tour of the university last June when I was here, and I'm proud to say that the university is steeped in the tradition of excellence as envisaged by its founder and chancellor, Are Afe Babalola. Chief Babalola is truly a Nigerian iconographic figure, Born into the family of village farmers, he pulled himself up by his bootstraps through sheer hard work, grit, outstanding brilliance, and determination to excel regardless of the odds. He passed his secondary school certificate examination in flying colors as an external candidate. He obtained the General Certificate of Education Advanced Level and graduated from the University of London without seeing the four walls of a university. By the time he celebrated his Diamond Jubilee at the bar, a celebration that I was privileged to attend, Chief Afe Babalola had become arguably one of Nigeria's most regarded lawyers. An author of books, his vision is to make Afe Babalola University someday a rival of Stanford University in California. The 13-year-old Abuad has won the award of Times Higher Education as Nigeria's most impactful university. In this beating much older universities. Now I want to congratulate all of you, the students who are graduating at this convocation. As you go out into our country that is currently saddled with the scourge of youth unemployment, I urge you to emulate one of the important personal legacies of the founder of this university, which is to seek self-fulfillment by the dint of your individual initiatives and hard work, always remembering the three key words of your university's motto: labor, service, and integrity. I have chosen as the theme of this my convocation address the management of diversity, a major challenge to democratic governance in diverse countries. It is a theme that is informed by my over 34 years of working closely with the governments of the 54, now 56, member countries of the Commonwealth of nations that are located in all the major continents of the world. And I believe that the theme is very relevant to the current situation in our own country, Nigeria. I must begin with a definition of a diverse country, or in other words, a pluralistic country, in the context of my presentation. A diverse country is a country where the main component groups of the population consist of people who belong to different cultures, religions, ethnicities, or race, and in some cases have different historical beginnings. To give examples of these, some diverse countries are relatively recent amalgams of their component parts, such as Nigeria, which was amalgamated in 1914, Yugoslavia in 1918, Czechoslovakia in 1918, and others have longer histories of their component parts coming together to form their countries, such as India, which did so between 5,000 and 6,000 years ago, Sudan, which did so some 3,000 years ago, Switzerland in 1815, the United Kingdom in 1707, and Canada in 1867. In all diverse countries, there have been and are continuing efforts to manage their diversity. The efforts have largely taken two complementary forms: through structuring a national constitution that specifically addresses the issue of diversity, and through pursuing governance policies that deal with the problems arising from the diverse populations of the countries concerned. In some cases, the efforts have succeeded, like they have in India, in the United Kingdom, and in Canada. In other cases, the efforts have failed, like they failed in Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, and recently in Sudan. While in other cases, the efforts are continuing as work in progress, as it is in Turkey, in the countries of the Balkan region of Europe, and of course, in Nigeria. Let me now give some examples of successful and unsuccessful efforts to manage diversity. One successful effort is Switzerland, a small, landlocked, mountainous European country of only 8.7 million people, which by its constitution has 26 cantons because of the pluralistic composition of its population. It has 4 official languages, namely Italian, German, French, and Romansh. Switzerland officially is a successful confederation. Another constitutionally successful example is Belgium, a European country which grappled with its diversity as it is composed of French, German, and Flemish-speaking citizens. Belgium is divided primarily into 2 major cultural groups, namely the Flemish in the north and the Wallonians in the south, with the cosmopolitan Brussels as its capital. Belgium itself grew out of the Netherlands in 1830 over religious denominational differences. So while Holland remained mainly Protestant, Belgium became and remains mainly Catholic. So you see that religious differences have on many occasions been a major factor in the instability of some countries. In Lebanon, for example, the government offices are shared along Christian, that is Maronite, Shiite, and Sunni lines. And these polarizing lines extend to the recruitment of even the civil servants and security officers. There are instances in recent history where religious differences have culminated in the emergence of new nation states. The country of East Timor, for example, was separated from Indonesia in 2002, principally because it is predominantly Christian, while Indonesia is not only Muslim-dominated, but also the largest Muslim country in the world. And also Pakistan. Pakistan separated from India as the latter was about to gain independence in 1947 because Pakistan is a Muslim territory while India is predominantly Hindu. And even among nations with one dominant religion, sectarian differences have also resulted in severe conflicts and wars, sometimes leading to the emergence of new countries. An example of this was Yugoslavia, which broke into 8 countries, including Serbia, whose people belong predominantly to the Orthodox Church, and Croatia, whose most citizens confess what is known as Western Rite Christianity. And again, another example is that at the bottom of the relations between the Republic of Ireland and the United Kingdom is the religious difference. While Ireland has historically been fiercely Catholic, the United Kingdom is the home of the Protestant Anglican Church. In speaking about the use of governance policy to address the challenge of diversity, I want to recall one particular example that I personally witnessed. In 1968, Canada was confronted with a serious political crisis, the secession, the threat of secession by its large French-speaking province of Quebec. The then French President, General Charles de Gaulle, had, during a state visit to Canada in July 1967, stoked the fire of the secessionist movement in a speech in the city of Quebec, in which he had declared, "Vive le Québec, vive le Québec libre," meaning, "Long live Quebec, long live free Quebec." I accompanied the first Commonwealth Secretary General, Arnold Smith, himself a Canadian citizen who was much concerned about the crisis, on a visit to the founder and leader of the Parti Québécois, René Lévesque. The then Canadian Prime Minister Lester B. Pearson, an English-speaking Canadian who was the leader of the governing party, the Liberal Party, was about to retire. In a visionary political act, Lester Pearson bypassed all his senior colleagues in the Liberal Party and supported as his successor a young French-speaking junior member of the government, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, whose at the time parliamentary experience was only 3 years and ministerial experience only 18 months. This act arrested the secessionist movement in Quebec and saved Canada from disintegration. I am sure that many Canadians today would readily agree that Pierre Elliott Trudeau's premiership cemented the unity of the Canadian nation. And coming nearer home to Nigeria's neighbor on the eastern flank, Cameroon. Cameroon has since 2017 been fighting an underreported conflict arising from its diversity. The Anglophone separatists have been at war with their Francophone compatriots, whom they accuse of absolutely marginalizing them in the national scheme of things. Let me now come to our own country, Nigeria. Nigeria is a pluralistic country whose main component parts had lived separately for centuries in their respective areas with their different cultures. Given the nature and geography of its component parts, Nigeria, we must admit, is a good example of what the late eminent Harvard political science professor Samuel P. Huntington called a cleft society. In his magnum opus, The Clash of Civilizations, The Remaking of World Order, published in 1993. It is an undeniable fact that Nigeria's diversity was more successfully managed in the early years of our country's independence. During that period, Nigeria's diversity was perceived by all as a source of strength and inspirer of national unity. There were then no interregional tensions, and in the perception and conduct of its citizens, the country had begun to evolve into a nation that was credibly aspiring to realize its potentials. But all this changed when the military intervened in the country's governance in January 1966 and changed the existing constitution. Under the constitution of fewer and more viable federating units that we had before the military intervention, there was security in the country, security of life and property, and there was a faster pace of economic development in the regions. During that period that I describe as halcyon period, the regional premiers and federal government officers were utilizing their limited resources more efficiently and effectively. Revenues from cocoa were used by the Premier, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, for landmark projects and programs, including free education in the Western region. Revenues from palm produce were utilized by Premier Dr. Michael Opara to build industries, finance education, and develop agriculture in the Eastern region. In the Midwest region, Premier Chief Dennis Osadebe expanded the region's economy with revenues from rubber, timber, and palm produce. And in the northern region, the Premier, Sir Ahmadu Bello, used money from the region's groundnut pyramids, rice and skin, and cotton exports to build industries in Kano and Kaduna and elsewhere in the north. The regions then engaged in healthy competition, which facilitated development across the country. When the Eastern region government built Nigeria's first autonomous university in Nsukka in 1960, the Western region followed by establishing the University of Ife at Ile-Ife in 1962. And the Northern region built Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria also in 1962. The national stability then and the fast pace of economic growth won Nigeria respect and admiration across the world. A Nigerian brigadier, Thomas Aguiyi-Ironsi, was chosen by the UN Secretary General as the first African to lead the United Nations peacekeeping force in the Congo. The Nigerian ambassador to the United Nations, Chief Simeon Adebo, and his two counterparts from India and Japan saved the global organization from a major crisis in 1964 over the invocation of Article 22 of the Charter in a dispute between the Western and Eastern blocs. And needless to say that Nigeria's green travel passport was universally respected during this period. In contrast, today, if truth be told, the situation in our country is lamentable. There is unprecedented level of divisiveness and declining sense of national unity. The economy is in doldrums, with 133 million of our population in multidimensional poverty. There is great insecurity throughout the land, as we hear every day of killings and kidnappings by unknown gunmen and marauding bandits. All our infrastructure, including power, roads, and educational and health facilities, are in poor state. And added to all this, there is complete bastardization of our society's ethical values and an unfathomable level of corruption evident in the often reported massive looting and mismanagement of the country's resources, including the continuing unbridled theft of our crude oil. And now abroad, it is not just the individual Nigerian citizens holding our national passport who are disrespected and often humiliated at airports and elsewhere, but also our country itself and its government. For example, African countries like Egypt and Ethiopia, whose economies are considerably less than Nigeria's, were invited to join the BRICS at the group's recent summit meeting in South Africa, and not our country. However, even in the midst of the depressing picture that I have just painted, I am a firm believer that Nigeria is still salvageable. The country can still be restored to greater peace, to greater security, to a renewed sense of national unity, to greater political stability, and to a more assured peace, a more assured pace of economic development. As we all know, there is abundance of analyses and prescriptions of how to resolve Nigeria's individual problems. But the crux of my submission in this lecture is that, considering the history of Nigeria over the last 63 years, to arrest the ongoing deterioration of the situation in the country and to achieve the desired transformation for the better, we need a system of government that not only addresses our diversity, but is also based on a constitution that can correctly be described as a Nigerian people's constitution. Accordingly, I call on the presidency, in consultation with the National Assembly, instead of continuing to tinker with the 1999 Constitution, to acknowledge the urgent necessity of a new constitution to be made by the people of Nigeria. To this end, I invite the federal government to immediately embark on the following practical steps. First, convene a National Constituent Assembly of directly elected on a non-party basis representatives whose task would be to discuss and agree a new constitution for the Federal Republic of Nigeria, taking into account the 1963 and 1999 constitutions, as well as the recommendations of the 2014 National Conference. The elected representatives should, I suggest, number 362, with 10 from each of the existing 6 geopolitical, 10 from each of the existing 36 states and 2 from the Federal Capital Territory. And they should be assisted by 37 lawyers, drawn 1 each from the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The management of the work of the Constituent Assembly should be entrusted to a 6-member steering committee of equal powers, possibly the 2 co-chairmen, the 2 co-vice chairmen, and 2 joint secretaries. And all the 6 should be elected by the members of the Assembly themselves from the 6 geopolitical zones. The Constituent Assembly should be given about 6, certainly no more than 9 months to produce the draft new constitution. And the agreed draft constitution should be put to a national referendum for adoption by a majority of the voters, after which it should be signed by the President. In my view, the essence of the new constitution should, in recognition of the crucial principle of subsidiarity in every successful federation, involve a devolution of powers from the central government to fewer and more viable federating units with strong provisions for inclusive governance at the center and in the regions, as was indeed agreed by Nigeria's founding fathers. In ending my remarks, I want to call attention to the need for our country to stop boxing below its weight in the global arena. As the largest black nation on earth, our country would need always to act in cognizance of its manifest destiny. I would recommend that after putting our domestic situation right, the Presidency and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs should work especially hard to elevate Nigeria's standing within the Committee of Nations, and that the citizens, by their behavior, should join in earning for the country a deserving international reputation, as well as membership of appropriate global organizations. In conclusion, I would like to stress my belief that properly managed, Nigeria's diversity will become an asset and not a liability, and thus prove that Nigeria is a tapestry, a beautiful mosaic, and above all, a miracle waiting to happen. I thank you all.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I told you earlier on, before the commencement of the lecture, that for me, I was eager, I was anxious, and indeed I was prepared to listen to the convocation speaker. To attempt to summarize what Baba gave out will amount to an attempt at suicide. I don't want to try it. But permit me to say that today I have learned a new dimension of poverty. I've been hearing about abject poverty. Bola Igesa, your friend, once spoke about grinding poverty. But today, sir, you added a new dimension, multi-dimensional poverty. What is the way out, sir? I am indeed enthralled, totally captivated, where you are reeling out the ways out, where you spoke about the need for a new constitution. I'm happy to announce that the Emir of Lafia is in the house, a retired justice of the Supreme Court. We have other judges and justices in the house. I have to be careful about what I said or what I say anytime. But I remember what Lord Dennis said, that you don't attempt to put something on nothing. It can't stand. Trying to rework the 1999 Constitution may not work. But just like the founder of this university has been saying since 2001 in a lecture he gave in Enugu, he has been emphasizing the need for a new constitution. It appears the two of you have the same mind. Please, sir, together with the likes of Areafe Palola and people like you who have the ears of the authority, let us have a new constitution. God bless you, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as Baba Ayoku was giving his lecture, the Emir of Lafia came in. He's been around since yesterday. A thoroughbred Nigerian. A lucky man in every aspect of the world. A retired Justice of the Supreme Court. And now one of the leading royal fathers in the country. By the grace of God. Tomorrow, he will bear a new name. I won't tell you that. You are welcome, sir. Colonel Abdallah represented the commandant of Martin Luther Aguirre International Leadership Center, Peacekeeping Center. We appreciate you. You are welcome, sir. Mr. Adi Ajayi represented the GMD Odua. We appreciate you. Dr. Abimbola Olulesi representing the VC Caleb University. We appreciate you. Of course, our royal father, the Alayi of Efon. Baba, you are welcome, sir. Thanks for always being here with us. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have all listened to Baba Yoku. It's difficult for me to call him chief because in my own part of the country, he eminently deserves and qualifies to be addressed as Baba. So on this podium today, I'll be referring to him as Baba Yoku. We have all listened to him. The reaction from the audience when he was speaking gives me an idea that we have a very clear understanding of what Baba said. I have no doubt in my mind that there will be some questions, comments, observations in the house. But please, ladies and gentlemen, we should not attempt to want to give another lecture. You have 2 minutes inside of which to make your submission, either observation, comment, and or question. God bless you. The floor is open. Comments? Okay, my friend. Oh. Okay. Please, I need somebody to help me. An usher, please. I need an usher to pass the microphone around. My friend in Bola Hat. Your name, where you come from, and your comment or question. God bless you.
Good morning, revered Baba, and good morning, our second Baba, Emeka, over there, and good morning, every distinguished lady and gentleman here this morning. I've been attending conferences and lectures globally. This morning, what I listened here is very remarkable, as if I could say, what is this? My question is very simple. We seem to be in a country where we have a very clear idea of the problems we have in this country, and we have a very clear idea of the solutions that can bring us to the glorious days. Our Baba Afe Babalola here, it's as if the two of you have been comparing notes over the years. What is my question? Why is it difficult to implement a solution that can bring peace and prosperity to this country? Thank you very much.
Well, in my frank opinion, the greatest obstacle in the way of bringing Nigeria back to the path that it started from immediately after independence has been the military intervention in governance, which enthroned a unitarist government in a country as pluralistic as Nigeria. And that in itself went on to give birth to institutions and politicians who, as human beings, quickly developed vested interest in carrying on as usual. And that killed the political will to effect real change. As I said in my lecture, there is abundance of analysis and prescriptions of how to resolve Nigeria's individual problems. But I believe that as long as we have the present constitution, which has enthroned a unitarist system of government in a country as pluralistic as Nigeria, we shall continue to lumber along. That's why I believe that the most urgent thing to do is to recognize the need for a new constitution. A new constitution that will correctly be described as Nigerian people's constitution. The existing constitution, 1999, falsely starts with "we the people of Nigeria." The Nigerian people never made that constitution. The constitution was made by the military under their regime. We need a constitution to be made by our people. And once that happens, once our people get together, they will devise a constitution that will begin to address the challenges that this country has. That is my view.
Can we take more questions, sir?
Yes, yes.
Let me pass the microphone to Alhaji Abubakar Sadiq Seriki.
Your Highness the Emir of Lafia and Chairman of Nasarawa State Council of Chiefs, Sir Fe Babalola, the proprietor, and Sir, the presenter, Chief Emeka Anyaku GCON. It's a privilege being here today. Being in your august presence, a Nigerian, a consummate and accomplished Nigerian that has made us proud as a nation, side by side with a Nigerian that has exclusively stand out to bring a citadel of nation of learning in the capacity of this institution that is a rare of its kind in the sands of time in the African nation and particularly Nigeria. I'm privileged to escort my leader of the Council of Chiefs in Nasarawa State, Emir of Lafia, to join in this historic moment and to have the rare privilege and opportunity, sir, to hear you talk. Let me mention my regret that I came in at the end of your speech, but I got the privilege and the benefit of learning from what I heard, and especially what it means to a lot of us, the younger ones who are here, whom Sir Afe Babalola has provided an opportunity to bring across the length and breadth of Nigeria young Nigerians to have the privilege of meeting in spite of tribe and religion, in spite of region, to be cultured as a people whose future is joined and commonly responsible for the destiny of this nation, now and in the future. This institution, to me, is not just about a university. It is just like the NYSC, pulling every one of us across Nigeria by an individual whose resources will have disposed to the convenience of his family, but has exposed it to the well-being and the future of this country. To say, come, let's bring the young ones together. Let's package their reasoning through learning and character, so that the future of this country will be well laid, so that the concerns, sir, that you have eloquently and intelligently captured for the future and rescue of this country will have been established on a sound footing of young boys and girls who will be the managers of this country tomorrow. Sir, for the beauty of all the constitutions that have gone by, military or civilian, sir, for any more constitutions that this country will begin to write and continue to write at the end of the world, sir, if there are no human capital with national feelings and patriotic concerns for the future of this country, sir, if younger generations do not cherish national survival over individual, sir, if our collective aspiration and individual aspiration is to amass, pack as much as we can, take to all locations you want to take it to, not for national development. Sir, I want to draw your attention to my thoughts and hope you will help guide me. Will there be a future for this country if Nigerians do not feel the love for this country and that the country is worth sacrificing everything for, no matter the number of constitutions we write? Because the problem, sir, to my mind, is not the proliferation of constitution, it's whether we love this country enough. Your generation, sir, like that of the proprietor of this school, has impacted positively in nation building and patriotism in all its dimensions. You've gone to the world of the white man and returned with excellence in leadership and sense of duty and sacrifice in nation building. You have helped to build the world with your reasons and thoughts and resources, whether human or material. But we don't share that spirit today. That is why, in the smallness of means and excellence of thought, you have moved the world to appreciate Nigeria and Nigerians. Then there was no resources. Nigeria has never seen the amount of wealth it has. In the past, it was surviving on products of agriculture. Today, whatever resources the world needs to survive on, Nigeria has it. Our human capital is among the best in the world. That is why the Americas and Europe run to Nigeria to pack all the excellence we have in human resources to go and develop their nation. Sir, Your Excellency, you people tried on nothing to make Nigeria what is good today for all of us. Those of us that should have copied and learned from you have now developed the capacity to amass from the little national resources that will have developed Nigeria and the future of Nigerians. Sir, the problem is not our constitution. The problem is the Nigerian mind, the mindset and our tendencies. So, sir, if you have lived across the worlds, over the oceans, and Nigeria is proud of you, because of your human capacity and sense of duty and global statesmanship, if Afe Babalola is able to build this kind of institute across Nigeria, there are people that are richer than he that have not done it even in their father's land, even in their own hometown. They have not supported anybody's child other than their own families. So I'm just trying to say, can we as Nigerians, because the setting today has more resources available for nation building than it has ever been, but Nigerians have never cherished how to make Nigeria a better place as a priority over self-aggrandizement. How many constitutions will we keep writing? if the Nigerian mindset does not change, if these young people, for the theme of this lecture they are presented, if their minds are not prepared that the nation is more important than the individual person, let's sacrifice for Nigeria instead of amassing to destroy Nigeria. So if our mindset does not change, can the Constitution ever work?
Your Royal Majesty, I would agree very much with what you say about the importance of the mindset and the conduct of our people. That the mindset and the conduct must be nationalistic enough to focus on the development of the country. But I would emphasize the importance of the structure of governance under which people will develop their mindset. And I am now 90 years of age. When I was younger and Nigeria had the right structure of governance, things were different. At that time, we did not think in terms of Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, Igbo, Efik, Ibibio, Tiv, and so on. We did not. I was able, with my fellow students, to travel by road from Ibadan to Maiduguri without any fear of armed robbers or kidnappers and so on. We went by road using buses and trucks from Ibadan to Maiduguri and returned very safely. We were, when I married a Yoruba young lady, we were not thinking in terms of anything but Nigeria. And my friend Ralph Opara married a girl from Zaria. We were not thinking of anything but Nigeria. Because then, the structure of governance we had meant that people were developing, the regions were developing at their own pace, and there was no suggestion of marginalization and so on. So, my point of difference with you is that the structure of governance determines and encourages the development of a mindset that will help this country. Maybe one more question.
Yes, General Ataguba.
The founder, sir, and our dear speaker for today. I beg to stand on already established protocol. My name is Major General Ataguba, retired. I have two quick questions, sir. First, there's this allusion always to the fact that the military, the system of government that has been in place, was put in place by the military and has, to a large extent, impacted negatively on the development of this country. From 1999 till date that the civilians have taken over, that is 24 years. If a particular system that has been put in place before has been ineffective, sir, what is responsible for the new set of politicians not changing that system of government? Secondly, sir, in your exposition, you talked about the need for a new constitution by representatives that will be directly selected from the people. Sir, we have the National Assembly where you have the Senate and the House of Representatives. I am wondering how this set of people will allow that direct selection, because by doing that, it will indirectly tell the world that they have ceased to exist. So do we see a situation where the existing National Assembly will allow the selection of other people directly to come and draw up a constitution for them to bring into existence? Thank you, sir.
Well, you've touched an important point, which relates to my comments about vested interest. The structure of governance that we have and have heard since your colleagues, you're not old enough to have participated in it, but since your former colleagues intervened in governance and brought in the system of government that we now have, that system has produced groups of people with vested interest, not only in the National Assembly. Obviously, National Assembly people would like to continue with business as usual, because Nigeria, in terms of my survey of the world, Nigerian parliamentarians are the highest paid throughout the world, paid higher than even the United States. The Congress and Senate of the United States, the remuneration of congressmen and senators in the United States are much less than the remuneration of our House of Representatives, and our senators here. So naturally they would want to defend that. But what I'm saying is that if the clamor for a new constitution gains momentum, if all the young people, the students, the groups, the trade unions, the media, the universities, the elites, if everybody who is not gaining from the present structure, if all of them cry out for a new constitution, even the National Assembly will respect that and give in to that. And I think that unless and until that is done, we shall continue to lumber along, as I said, without any meaningful change in Nigeria's capacity to realize its potentials. Thank you, Paul.
Baba, one of your students wants to ask you a question. One of the students, sir. Yes. I'm sure you would like to take it. Yes. And then the Pro-Chancellor has a word for you, sir. Okay. My dear, your name and your question.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Chief Anyaku, and also greetings to Afe Babalola. Thank you so much for having us here. I'm going to be very brief with my question. Sir, please, you talked about a lot of things today. And you talked about enacting a new constitution for Nigerian citizens. My question is, do you think it's about changing the constitution that is going to change the way the country is, if we can't even follow through with the old constitution?
Yes, I believe.
Thank you.
I believe that a new constitution would first and foremost affect the mentality of going to the central government for handouts. It will refocus on production within the federating units. When we had the former constitution, you did not hear of people going from Ibadan to Lagos, which was the federal capital then, to receive handouts, or going from Enugu or going from Kaduna to Lagos to receive handouts. So that would be the beginning of change. People will then begin to focus on producing things within their areas. And the young people like yourself will begin to learn the importance of production. What we have now in Nigeria puts the emphasis on consumption, not production. We need to redirect our attention to production. A new structure of governance will help to encourage the development of a mindset that will put things right. At the moment, the structure of governance encourages young people to believe that they can succeed without working hard, to believe that money can be made without working hard. But a new structure of government will change all that mindset and all that thinking. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I have this written contribution from the floor, sir. It says, His Excellency Sadiq had mentioned the most pressing issue bothering my mind as to a successful rewrite of the National Constitution by the Nigerian people. And this was premised on reorientation of the people. Hardly do we find any Nigerians that says, God bless Nigeria. Selflessness and love for self and one another will help to add value to nation building. It is a great privilege to be in the same breathing space as an enigma as you, sir. I have loved your person from childhood. Dr. Amina Abubakar. You want to say what?
I said thank you and amen.
And this one, sir. Sir, what happens to the report of the 2004 Sovereign National Conference that are gathering dust? Many said this report and others have solutions to most of the challenges we are talking about instead of talking of a new constitution.
Well, as I said in my presentation, the task of the Constituent Assembly that I'm recommending would be to discuss, take into account not only the old constitutions, but also the recommendations of the 2004 and 2014 national conferences. The Constituent Assembly will take into account these factors in drawing up a new constitution for the country. I thank you.
And finally, the Pro-Chancellor, sir. before Baba goes to his seat.
Your Excellency, this is just to add to what you have submitted. Maybe you may wish to consider it as a third factor that needs to be considered. That will be integrating what His Royal Highness said earlier on, which is equally important. When we consider, looking back, we analyze the variables and constants of the socio-political engineering in this country. We will come to the conclusion that you have arrived at, that is the system of government and in the imperative of a new constitution. No question about it. But when we go back, and as we rightly mentioned, Trudeau of Canada, what he represented in that country, Ataturk Kemal Pasha of Turkey, and of course Tito of Yugoslavia, you look at all those, we come to the conclusion that leadership plays a very important role. In other words, the mindset we are talking about, how do we get the followership? How do we get the citizens to key into whatever system comes up? And the Constitution, like people say, you may debate from here to any time, the Constitution will be run by people. In other words, we also have to program, condition the minds of those people, and that system will now cohere to make sure we really get what we want. No doubt, without a new Constitution, I do not believe we are going anywhere in this country. At the same time, that system of government. And when we now factor in this issue of leadership and the mindset we're talking about, then we will know that the challenges are much, particularly having vested interests who will do anything and go to any extent to ensure that this does not happen. Because the status quo, even though it's very much against the interest of the nation, even though it will continue to hurt our movement towards where we should be, the actualization of our potentials as a country, they will want to preserve that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's an important contribution to our discourse. The last note I have here says, should Nigeria follow the Great Britain model or the Yugoslavia model? Well, without any hesitation, I would say that we should not contemplate following the Yugoslavia model. Yugoslavia was one country that broke into 8 states. United Kingdom was a country formed in 1707 and has remained one country. I believe very passionately that Nigeria should remain one country. There is, in my view, there is no part of Nigeria that will not gain from Nigeria remaining one country. Nigeria used to gain, all the parts of Nigeria used to gain when we had a true federal constitution. At that time, as I said, there was no doubt in the mind of young people growing up as to where they belong. They belong to one country, Nigeria. But the present structure of governance we have has encouraged dissipation of loyalties. People talk about states of origin and even local governments, area of origin. Put emphasis on that. That will not help us. What will help us is to design a structure of governance through a new constitution that would encourage collective mindset in favor of one country. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, If we are clapping for Baba Yaku, please let's clap for him. He deserves to be so celebrated. We have benefited tremendously from his fountain of knowledge and experience. Thank you. Thank you very much. May I plead for the understanding of those who could not entertain their questions. Because of the depth of what Baba dished out to us today, there are still many more people in the crowd, in the audience rather, who wanted to ask questions. That underscores the import of what Baba has given us today. We thank you, sir. I'm sure at the risk of being controverted, this will appear to me the best convocation lecture I've ever attended at this university. I'm speaking for myself. Thank you very much, sir. When Baba Yaku was giving his lecture, I could see some synergy between him and Arafe Balola. But I'm not surprised. They belong to the same age. It is time for us to listen to Arafe Balola. He has one or two things to say. Please put your hand together as I invite the founder to the podium for his remarks on this remarkable convocation lecture. Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
I adopt the existing protocol as mine. I thank all of you who, through God's grace, are here today when the erudite Chief Ayoku, a world citizen, addressed us. I think this is a privilege to me and to you all to listen to this erudite man. I've listened to many lectures. I've been a teacher for almost, only God knows, 80 years. And I've been the Chancellor of the university for almost 8 years. I'll be here now for almost 11 years. This is clearly the most attractive, most compelling, and the most captivating lecture I've ever listened to. The lecture was clear. It was well coordinated, and the voice is such a voice that anybody can easily understand. He's a born teacher by any means. Thank you, sir. I have an appeal to you. We have in my university a Department of International Relations. With the way you have punctuated every sentence with dates and figures, I'm here on behalf of that department asking for a copy of that lecture. And I hope you will oblige us with a copy. I want one myself. Thank you, sir. I am not to give another lecture, but today, after about 30 years of my plea to the federal government for a new constitution, I now have an apostle in Chief Emeka Anyaoku. People talk about mindset. I've lived the life of ages. When there was no light in this country, when we had no shoes, when the roofs were covered with grasses, when we have no water, we passed all these ages. When I was the Pro-Chancellor of the University of Lagos, I used to give scholarship to the best student of the year. Please don't disturb him, for God's sake, leave him. A boy came up topmost, and I decided to give him a scholarship to study for masters. He agreed. He was very happy. He started his masters. About 6 months after, he came to me and said, "Sir, I thank you for your scholarship, but I don't want to pursue masters." I said, "Why? What am I going to gain?" My friend, when we were in secondary school, who was an average student, is now the chairman of the local government. He's riding a car. When am I going to ride a car with my masters? I'm sure I'll be able to win election in my constituency and become chairman, and so on and so forth. That mindset is what His Lordship, the Emir of Lafia, is referring to. What is the mindset of Nigeria today? Nigeria today is a country with a lot of wealth. But the wealth is in the hands of a people. And who are these people? People believe that the only lucrative business in this country today is politics. And you refer to it. And if it is politics, what politics is about? It is the Constitution, which has made politics the only lucrative business, not law, not engineering. We have, for 30 years, I've been writing about the Constitution, the root cause of our problem. Unless we address it, that mindset will remain. We have to make people understand that politics is only for service to the people and not for making money. Politics should not be regarded, should not be seen as business. And we need a new constitution to do that. Before the last election, I wrote an article on this very issue. Do not let us have this election until we have a new constitution, and I gave reasons. When Dr. Peter Obi came here during the election campaign, he said, young man, you are brilliant, you are well educated, you are healthy, you have done a lot for your people, but you won't win the election. Why? Because it's those people who have the money that will win. Can we continue like this? Look at the roads. Look at the multidimensional problems we talked about. Until we change the constitution, we cannot achieve what we ought to achieve as a country with diverse people. Thank you for being my apostle, sir. When I get your copy, a copy from you, I will send it to the president with my own contribution. My students, thank you for coming in large number. I still believe that Nigeria can make it. And with what we are doing here, a new set of leaders are being nurtured in Abad, and the new Nigeria has begun. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so very much, Abu Abad. We appreciate you. God bless you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have all had a very beautiful and wonderful day. But before we call it a day, a lot of research activities are going on in the university. You check the industrial park, you will confirm what I'm saying. So there's a little bit of exhibition at the back of the hall. Please, before you exit the hall, make your way there and see some of the accomplishments of this university in the realm of research. With your permission, ladies and gentlemen, may I invite the university registrar, Lady Christy Olubarode, to please give the vote of thanks.
Another year, another convocation lecture. I feel highly honored and delighted to be called upon to give this vote of thanks. Our sincere gratitude goes to God Almighty for making this occasion a reality, the 11th convocation ceremony of Afe Babalola University, and today being the day for the university convocation lecture. Therefore, on behalf of the founder and president emeritus of this world-class citadel of learning, our revered father, Kabiyesi Are Emmanuel Afe Babalola, the Bamofin of Yoruba land, OFR, CON, SAN, LLD London, LLD Unilag, LLD UI, DLIT, NDA, FNIALS, FCIALB, FNSE, our beautiful and amiable, ever-glowing mother, the wife of our revered founder and chancellor, a pillar of support, the chief executive officer of Abwad Ventures, a no-nonsense daughter of Zion, Yeye Are Modupe Babalola, FSM, FNIMN, FFPA, the Board of Trustees, the Governing Council, chaired by the able leadership of the Pro-Chancellor, Ambassador Professor Tunde Adeniran, OFR, the Senate, presided over by our distinguished Vice Chancellor, Professor Smaranda Olarinde, the best Vice Chancellor in Nigeria, FCR, FCAI, the management and staff, the entire Abwad community, and our great students of Afe Babalola University, great Abwad students. Being ranked by Times Higher Education Impact Rankings as #1 university in Nigeria for 2 consecutive years, 2022 and 2023, and number 221 in the world in 2023. My deepest gratitude goes out to all of you for honoring our invite to this great event. We cannot but express our heartfelt gratitude to all our royal fathers here present and their Oloris, and our amiable guests from within and outside Nigeria. You are all here despite your tight schedule and the pathetic state of our roads. There are not enough words to express our gratitude to you, but indeed, we are very grateful. I thank you, the representative of the Governor of Ondo State, in person of Dr. Wumi Ilawole, the Special Advisor on Education. Our Royal Highnesses from all over Nigeria, we appreciate your presence and thank you for coming. My Lord, spiritual and temporal, we appreciate you. Our international partners from Canada, we thank you. All representatives of government parastatals here present, we thank you. Our guests from the Nigerian Defense Academy, we appreciate you. Our learned silk, the senior advocates of Nigeria here present, we thank you. If I have not been able to mention or capture your presence, forgive me, I sincerely appreciate. I apologize. Now, my unreserved appreciation goes to our eloquent and erudite convocation lecturer, Right Honorable Chief Eliezer Chukwuemeka Anyoku, GCON, GCVO, CFR, CON, a seasoned, thank you, a seasoned and acclaimed global diplomat and former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, a global statesman, extraordinary, one of the greatest human minds from the African continent, administrator and traditional authority. Your fascinating, instructive, and thought-provoking lecture on the topic, Management of Diversity, a Major Challenge in Pluralistic Countries, which was eloquently delivered with great skill. It will resonate beyond this geographical space. Again, I would like to say a very big thank you to you, sir. You have profiled a solution to the Nigerian problems in a space of 1 hour. Nigerian diversity will become an asset and not a liability. Please give him a round of applause. Such an event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheel started rolling weeks ago, and it requires planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of highly motivated and dedicated staff who are efficient, effective, result-oriented. All members of staff, thank you for your contribution. ABWA becoming the best in the world is non-negotiable. Gentlemen of the press, our eyes and mouthpiece in the world, we appreciate you. Tell the world what you saw today. One of the visions of this university is to be a rallying point for cutting-edge research and development in all ramifications. And indeed, you have made it to the top. I sincerely thank you. Just before I bid you bye, I would like to use this opportunity to invite you all to the convocation dinner at 7 p.m. tonight at this venue, and the presentation of awards and degrees at the convocation ceremony tomorrow, 21st October 2023 by 10 a.m. at this venue. To those who may not be able to attend tomorrow's event, I wish you a safe trip back to your destination in Jesus' name. Once again, I say thank you to everybody. God bless you. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you so very much, ABWA Band. We appreciate you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are gradually inching towards the end of this beautiful convocation lecture. To round it all off, we'll take the ABWA anthem. But please, immediately after the anthem, let us all be seated so that our leaders can visit our research fair before they exit the hall. Thank you. ABWA anthem, please.
Education to mold character and infuse knowledge how to lead others. Proud of ABWA, they launch a path to excellence with determination and faith in ABWA philosophy of industry, service and character. Our future for greatness and excellence is assured. And excellence is assured. And excellence is assured.
Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Please, Yeye Are himself, the Vice Chancellor, please kindly oblige us with a photo session with the traditional rulers in the house very quickly. Thank you, sir. brief photo session.